What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. This is the end of the year 2025, beginning of 2026 New Year's State of the Black Union address. All right. If you guys don't know, as a Pan-African, and I consider myself a real Pan-African, I like to every now and then, give a state of address, to talk about the conditions of the black man and the black woman as an African, as a Pan-African who represents all black Africans globally, where we are right now, as far as our health and our situation and position on this planet at this time. Okay. And what I'll be doing is, before I start, my credentials. Number one, most importantly, I'm just a dude on the internet. That's what. Number two, I am a United States Marine Corps Combat Action Marine Special Operator. Decorated, very, very well decorated. I am a professional at, and my profession has been, I've been an expert in the Department of Homeland Security and Counterterrorism for 20 years. I'm also a real Royal Chief of a First Class King. My chief name is Chief Babagua Ogun, of the First Class King, direct descendant of Oduduwa, founder of Oyo Empire. That's why I find myself, now I'm a business owner in Nigeria. I have a degree in history. I'm a history buff. That's what I like to do. And I'm a Pan-African, right? So those are my credentials. And with that being said, I'll tell you where I believe we are. Okay, so right now, position-wise, the black man, this is despite all propaganda spewed by our enemies, our opposition, the people who don't have our best interests at hand. This is where we are. This is what I know. This is not what I think. Okay? This is the truth. This is facts. All right? And even though opposition will be watching this, there's nothing they can do about it. All right? It's just what it is. So as of right now, the black man and the black woman are geographically located in all of the strategic positions necessary to take power in any industry that we would like to take power in, and to take over the economies, whether it be local or statewide or national, that we want to. Right? We are demographically, and we are geographically located in some of the greatest positions on the world. I'll be using reference of the game Risk. If you know, the game Risk is where you try to take over the world, right? But how I will modify it is use it with Risk, with Monopoly, as we all black folks collectively, especially African Americans, know Monopoly, can understand that as a reference, right? So each block of Risk, you look at Risk, you're taking over countries, right? Regions. But within that region, each block, there is a monopoly game taking place, right? And this is economic warfare, all right, industrial warfare, right? And as we speak, African Americans, right, as far as the African block of people, as a group, as an ethnic group, African Americans as an ethnic group, right? African Americans specifically, not all Africans, just the block of African Americans as an ethnic group. We are the single richest ethnic group outside of white people on the planet. So position-wise, as far as our money reserves, as an ethnic group, not racial group, as an ethnic group, we African Americans are the third richest on the planet, because white people, even though we use that terminology, the modern day terms, white people actually is not broken down like that, right? It is not, because in the white world, most of their riches are pooled to a very few in very specific industries, right? But due to the nature of capitalism, the way we have gotten rich has caused us to have more a sporadic spread of how we have more opportunities based off the way capitalism works, right? We can generate baby millionaires faster than they can generate baby millionaires economically, right? Due to the industries like sports and things like that, outside of the other industries that we are a part of that people don't highlight, like business itself. right? So money-wise, right, economy-wise, what we can contribute to any economic, what we can contribute to any economy is vast, right? So if you place that on the board, we got a lot of money on our stash, right? So we play Monopoly, we got a lot of money on the board, right? But Europeans still own all the utilities, right? They own all the utilities, right? They own most of the hotels, and most of the real estate they do own, they have hotels on them, right? So, but they don't have as much money as they used to, as the building of those hotels for the Europeans have caused them to be lacking money. Plus, the lack in population due to the stress of building those hotels have caused a population decline, which doesn't leave a lot of people to operate what they need to run those hotels on and all those utilities, right? So at some point, in order for those systems that they've created to run the utilities or to run the land and the properties and hotels, they will either have to replace it with robots or we have to replace it with our group, right? Therefore, we'll be taking over, maybe not owning right away, but at least operating all the internal apparatus, which means we'll be getting all the intellectual knowledge, how to run and operate those things, and eventually the expertise to duplicate those things and take over that industry, right? And so that's happening right now, right? So African Americans, economically, we hold a great spot with the money that we hold and generate just within ourselves, right? As we generate more money than most European countries and most African countries, just as African Americans, right? Now, the unlocked potential of our brothers and sisters on the continent, despite the fact that we have a ratio, ethnically wise, we have a lot of money, but numbers wise, Africans, this is the thing we don't talk about because our enemy likes to use statistics to make them look bigger than they are. Numbers wise, there are more African people who economically are viable, than they are, African Americans, just by sheer numbers, right? So there's a rich, well-to-do group of billions of Africans. Therefore, if you scrounge up enough rich Africans, you can get probably the amount of there are African Americans or more, just by sheer number, right? And I'm talking about Africans of all different ethnic groups and backgrounds and divisions, right? So what that means is African people have money too. And their money is coming on deck because now they want to purchase things. They're becoming consumers. So now we're talking about all Africans. So not only have we got a good start with African Americans being in the second largest economic powerhouse globally, right? Our continent, which is massive, by the way, which even though, like I said, all propaganda and the maps and stuff, in the real world, Africa represents a vast majority of the world and the vast majority of the global population and the vast majority and the future of the African and of the population of the globe, right? Right. The only people who are projected to actually continue on with their population. Therefore, markets will do nothing but get bigger, right? And to make money, you need a market. So we have the money. Africa has the market, a massive market that clearly is desirable by everybody because clearly they've been tapping into our market for themselves for 500 years. Therefore, realistically, we know we have a market. But now that market understands that it's a market because now it's being updated by information because it's the age of information. So continental Africans are becoming aware. Their processing systems are being updated. Their batteries are being updated, right? Their systems are being upgraded. So now they understand that that with the value of their resources. So thanks to Donald Trump and white supremacy being afraid of a black president, white supremacy has, and their ego has allowed African people to have 10 years of an inept Western government that would have had a more competent foreign policy to destabilize these African countries. But because of the ineptness of white supremacy and lack of the white supremacy, Africans have finally had the breathing space necessary to make the moves that they were planning to make in the first place, right? And they've been taking advantage of that. And all countries globally have been doing that. The Chinese people, they're also on the board, but, to keep things simple, I'm not adding them on the board, but they are our allies, right? Whether you believe the propaganda or not, whether you talk about the isolated incidents of racism and racism and misunderstandings and all that stuff, overall, industrial-wise, they are our allies. We don't have any beef with the Chinese, right? Because they are the industrial process. They are the gateway in which we can detach ourselves from the white Western system. So we need them economically. We need to attach their economies, right? We need to attach their peoples and sell our goods and services to them. That way we're not beholden to the Europeans or the white Western world. So we need to make relationships with other groups, despite how we personally feel about them based off, some things that done happen with our peoples. That's part of the growing process, how every group of people is now learning about each other. And as incidences occur, we are actually improving our relationship, believe it or not. Asians and Africans are improving the relationship as we learn about each other, as we are forced to interact with each other and deal with the issues that we have with each other, because everything is a videotape and everything is content, right? So as we fix our relationship, that's going to create markets for African people to be able to tap into that's away from white supremacy. The goal of us as black people is to create markets which are not affected by white supremacy, not affected by Europeans. Therefore, they can't sanction us. They can't affect us economically based off our opinions or based off how we want to move about, right? And that's the whole goal, right? To detach ourselves from them. Let Europeans and their economy speak for themselves. Let our black economy speak for ourselves, right? And let the Asian economy speak for themselves. And when we can work together, where we can work together, we'll work together. But respectfully, we will create economies that we can take care of ourselves and our people, so that other groups can't use their biases to affect how we want to live as a group of people, right? So black people are strategically located in all the greatest places necessary, and we're involved in all the industries necessary to take over, right? We just need to focus. We have to have a conscious group focus on promoting our children to be in the fields of the future, like robotics, like building the next AI, programming the next artificial intelligence. In that world, hydrogen, the field of biology, microbiology, all the scientists, STEM fields, we need to really start pushing our children towards, and maybe disengage somewhat from or stop emphasizing sports as an easy way out, utilizing our physical advantages to take advantage of, the white Western world's insatiable appetite to watch us perform, right? And becoming millionaires based off that, which, that has helped us economically to be able to use our natural talents to create a whole bunch of millionaires. But the problem is all those millionaires are uneducated millionaires, and they tend to blow their money or put that money back in white Western systems instead of keeping it rotating within the black community, right? That's why supporting black is important, because when you support black, you keep the black money in the black community. Everybody slowly but surely levels up, slowly but surely everyone levels up and the community levels up when you can keep the money rotating within the community. And that's how the Jewish people have operated. That's why they're successful, right? And there's nothing that they have that we don't have in abundance. So we duplicate them by buying, like Jewish people buy from Jewish people. No matter what it is, they prioritize Jewish people, right? And certain groups do that, right? And we need to act like that. Because we have such a massive market, we won't be lacking from any resources, even if we just buy black, because we are involved and situated in such industry that we can actually buy black and get most of our services provided for. And those we can't get provided for, we need to encourage those to get into those businesses, or we can still just patronize those other groups when necessary. There's nothing wrong. We can still participate in other economies, but we got to prioritize our own economy, which I think we are kind of moving towards that right now. Right, as our African brothers and sisters are being updated on how the system works in America, and they're gaining a little bit more respect for our hard work as African Americans. So we're being able to unify. This is what unification looks like. It's not us hugging each other all the time and saying, singing African songs, and that it's us fighting, arguing, having miscommunications, acrimonious altercations, us butting heads, figuring out what we do to each other when we get mad, hurting each other's feelings, figuring out how to resolve the issues and moving forward, right? But that's all happening right now, live and in front of everybody, and everybody's entertained by it. So they're spreading it, so they're making it better for us to spread our need to unify together, right? So that's happening. So we're positioned in industry, and as far as influence, we have the greatest influence in the world. So when it comes to our ability to effectively make change, right? We have that. We're the most powerful people in the world with soft power. We have the greatest soft power capabilities of any group of people on the planet, especially African people. We have African American people. We have the most soft power, which is the power to influence and sway people without using hard power. Hard power meaning to hurt, to push, to force, right? We can persuade, we can coerce, We can convince, right? We have that kind of power. We are the standard as far as fashion, as far as culture. We are creating a new culture, right? And the future culture of the world seems to be based off, and the foundation will be African Americans, obviously, because that is what is most desired, right? And that's just the truth, right? And the thing about that, we shouldn't be afraid of that, because the thing is, culture always changes. All these tribes that are so proud of their culture, right? All those tribes, if you go back just a few hundred years past what they even understand about their tribe, they would see that those tribes are a conglomerate of other tribes who had separate and very individual different cultures before they got together and became the Oyo Empire, the Ifa Empire, the Akan Empire, the Igbo Empire. These are all conglomerate of different, smaller, different and separate groups of people who came together to create cultures. So just like back then, right now, the West Africans are reuniting after being separated, split, and mixed. Right? African people globally are mixing and splitting, and we are amalgamating our cultures that are all similar anyway. And there will be a point to where what you define as an African American, what you define as a, FBA, what people like to call it, or a one that come over here voluntarily during immigration, is going to be something in the past, because we are creating a new culture. A new culture will come out of this, but we will never be forgotten, because we have solidified our place in history. But culture always changes. That's the only thing that's constant is change, and culture is something that changes constantly, right? And so we shouldn't be afraid of that, but we can enjoy the difference of our cultures now. So we have the money. Resource-wise, we have the most resources in the world. We just have to start to leverage those resources. And right now, governments who have figured out how to eliminate in-house corruption are currently doing that. Like right now, we almost have the north of Africa. We're getting the north of Africa back. Most of the geography of North Africa is going back to the black African, the black man, right? It's a hard-fought struggles. We have to get those Arabs out of there. But soon that will be a viable economic zone that African Americans can plug their trillions of dollars into, right? So we don't have to get any resources from China, from the European West. We can get everything and import, export all of our goods and services, and they can export all their goods and services between our different black African global black communities, right? So that's something that we can hold tight, as long as you agree that you're an African, they're African, and we work under Pan-Africanism economically and socially. So Pan-Africanism directly, right, we have a military. We have a federation, right, the AES. That's a federation, a Pan-African militarized, organized federation that I'm sure at some point, when stabilized, and when the resources of the country finally gets to the point to where it can fully finance the advancement of these technologies and these systems that are being created, I'm sure that the black diaspora will be able to participate in that, right? We'll be able to participate in those military and give our expertise, give our input, and whether it be financially or whether it be our expertise, because we have that. That's one thing African Americans have, is a lot of military expertise, right? So even when it comes to military-wise, we have a lot of that globally. A lot of a lot of French, a lot of black African French, a lot of black African British, a lot of black African Europeans who've been in these militaries have a lot of experience, gain a lot of knowledge, become engineers, become all kind of things. They know how to build these things. And a lot of them are the scientists who do build these things, right? Just like a lot of our black men are the ones building these systems within these AI startup companies and these new age energy companies. So eventually we'll be able to, when countries are able to make the infrastructure in order to make a viable economy, to bring these intelligent people back to their countries so they can pay them something fair and give them a place to live, a decent place they can raise their families, then we can start poaching back our countries, start poaching back from the West all of these Africans who work for these corporations, enriching them. We can start poaching them back and giving them a reason to come home, right? You can pay them well, pay them on time, and give them the infrastructure they need to provide for their families, which can be done if the resources in these countries were used for the people, and the people politicians weren't so corrupt, right? Because all these African countries can do this, and some countries are doing it faster than others, right? And some of them having a harder time than others, and it's going to require some African countries to fully liberate themselves and cause a domino effect to also cause more pressure to the West, who can no longer finance their neocolonialism in Africa. Is going to put pressure on them via our economic embargo on them, right? Economically, as we collectively as African nations start to withhold or sanction those European countries for their neocolonialism in other African countries. Once we have that power, which we are currently working on, there's nothing we can't do, right? So we got to get a hold of our economics. right? That means valuing black, African, black things. And I think that we are currently doing that. It's going to take some time. It's going to take more than a few decades to get to where we need to go. But I think that we're headed in the right direction. And I think all that we have to do now is understand that our children, we got to understand that in the age of information, right, there's going to be a new type of enemy with a new type of propaganda that we have to stay mindful of, right? Because the enemy and the opposition will not go down without a fight. We know that, right? History has shown. So we have to be prepared and armor ourselves for that eventuality, right? We have to organize and take things more seriously, right? Which I think we are currently doing, right? We have to get involved and highlight other industries that we are also involved in, which I think we are currently doing now. And we need to shun those parts of our communities that doesn't serve us, like the gangster community, like that street culture. That stuff doesn't serve us. We don't need it, right? We've had enough of it. It doesn't serve us at all. All it does is make our opposition rich. We don't want to make them rich. We want to make ourselves rich. So we can entertain ourselves utilizing our African culture without selling it by adding in the worst portions of us, right? And even if we do have the worst portions of us, which of course will always exist, at least let us make money off of it. And let's stop them from making money off of our stuff. At least let us close in-house and tighten up how it is we distribute our content, you know, so that at least we're winning out of it. If we're going to do it, let us do it. You know what I'm saying? Let us get paid off of it. And just be more mindful about our economics, because that's where the war is, economic. And as far as education, I feel like the children nowadays are collectively, all African children collectively, are becoming more aware of each other. They're learning about each other. And that is great. And they're learning the histories of all African nations globally and what it is that they've been through, so they can have a better perspective and know how to deal with each other. As you see us openly arguing, you know, as we are doing right now, openly arguing all over the place, but then coming to an understanding at some point. Some of us, not all of us, but enough of us to move forward with the unification of black people globally under a Pan-African ideology for a collective betterment of us and the world. You know what I'm saying? So we are in a good place. So I believe that we need to just continue to do what we're doing. Be more mindful and be protective, because keep in mind your enemy does not like your success, and we know what they do when we succeed. So prepare for their response. Prepare for their terrible response, right? And protect yourselves, and make sure when you do protect yourself, it's legal, lawful. Make sure you gain reasonable assets. If you are a capable African American, you should be trying to gain real assets in Africa and Caribbean islands via real estate, via land. You should be doing it, but legally and honestly, and not taking your white Western colonial habits with you. You know, there's other ways to operate. Make sure you don't take advantage of any group of people in Africa that you start to do business with or that you embed yourself with to enrich yourself. Make sure everybody's winning. Let's be the communal people that we are. Use those powers that we have as black people, our love for each other, our communal, our need to be around each other. Let's use our ability to express, to organize, and let's go ahead and making it an intentional effort to be better, to support each other, and to push ourselves into the future so we can hand this planet over to our children and hand the universe over to our children, because we're going to be able to do that in a short while. But we can speed this up if we if you be very intentional about our actions here in the near future, because it's up to us to make sure that our children who are not born yet don't have to go through the things that us and our ancestors had to go through. Okay, so that is my 2025-2026 end of year State of the Black Union Pan-African Address. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
Hey Lisa, this one for you, sir. Let's let this old school party rock out and shout about the night, y'all. It's ready. Look, old school party. Lean over old school styles and hit it like y'all. Old school party. Put the A to it, y'all. This one for the boss in the back of the eye. The whole club. Look, old school party. Don't go nowhere, guys. At least stay right there. 1, 3, yeah. They call me the young fool, ladies and gentlemen. Contagion is here. Leave it right there.
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan!
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.